There is widespread outrage after a Texas State University student was mocking and reenacting Charlie Kirk's assassination at a vigil. Take a look.
Oh my God. Everybody has my name is Charlie Kirk. That's too much. Oh, buddy. You're gonna get expelled, dude.
Now, just notice how peaceful the crowd is. They could have gotten angry. They could have beaten him up, but that didn't happen. They let him go. No one even laid a finger on him. It's really surprising that this happened so closely after what happened just a few days ago at Texas Tech, where Cameron Booker was dancing and celebrating Charlie Kirk's assassination. That led to her not only being expelled, but being arrested as well. I shared her mugshot on the channel yesterday. I have a feeling that this guy, whoever he is going to face the same fate because the president of Texas State University has issued a statement. I'm aware of the disturbing video that was taken at an event on our San Marcos campus on Monday. I've directed university officials to take immediate steps to identify the individual in the video. Behavior that trivializes or promotes violence is reprehensible and violates our values. It will not be tolerated. So I have a feeling that he's going to be following the same path as Cameron Booker here. Now, the left is going to try to minimize this as the impact of social media or, video games and culture, whatever they're going to say. But the reality is that many young adults are being radicalized and brainwashed by their teachers in the classroom. And that's why Texas has already fired 100 teachers for inappropriate comments made about Charlie Kirk. Now, they're not being punished. They're not being fired for just simply exercising their right to free speech. They're being fired for inappropriate comments celebrating, condoning, or even inciting violence. That's certainly someone you don't want in the classroom. That's someone you don't want teaching young minds. And it turns out that many more firings may come. But before we get into that, I think it would be best to hear from a mother in Texas.
Talk to your kids, check in with your kids. My stepdaughter's classmate, their mom called me and asked if she had told me about anything that she heard in social studies today. The social studies teacher said, one of the kids asked, did you hear about Charlie Kirk? And he said, yeah, I always celebrate when a racist dies. And he proceeded with more hatred and evil language. And when the kids asked, aren't you worried about us reporting you? He said, no. They love me here. They won't do anything about it. Same teacher that apparently we found out cusses at the kids because he says they're old enough now, they're in 8th grade, to hear cuss words. Mind you, my family, our home, we try not to cuss. That is not your choice as an educator to expose your students to things that they might not want to be exposed to at home. Professionally, he should have said, yes, I've heard of it. You need to go home and talk to your parents. Parents, talk to your kids. Make sure there's not educators there that are spewing hate in class. That is not their job. That is not their responsibility.
Look, I know I've been talking about race a lot more recently on the channel, and it's something that I don't like to do, but the left has turned race into an issue, and I just want to point out she's not white, she's not blonde, she looks Hispanic to me, definitely some sort of minority, and the only reason I point that out is because the left is trying to trivialize all of this, right? They're claiming that, oh, only white people are upset, or only racists are upset, or only MAGA is upset. No, this is upsetting so many people, even people who maybe traditionally in the past weren't considered conservative. So I thought that was a great video. And, if the radical teachers, of course, not all teachers are radical. We need teachers. Teachers are so important. But many of them are very left-wing. Many of them aren't really passionate about educating, but rather are more interested in spreading propaganda. And honestly, I believe it's oftentimes obvious what their mission, what their goal is when you look at them. And it's especially obvious when they post on social media after they've been fired. How you react after you're fired really says a lot about who you are. Take a look. This is just one of the teachers in Texas posting on social media after they were fired, talking about what's really heartbreaking about this whole situation.
I do want to share with you the one tragedy that I see in all of this, and that is this. I never had the opportunity to say goodbye to my students. This happened so quickly, I was not allowed back in the classroom. And the one thing that breaks my heart right now is I will never get to tell all of these students the impact that they have had on me.
So that person doesn't get to say goodbye to their students. That's the heartbreaking part of this whole thing. Okay. Well, like I said, over 100 teachers have been fired. Many more are probably coming down the corner. So this actually began on September 12. Greg Abbott posted this. The Texas Education Agency is investigating teachers and staff who have posted and or shared reprehensible and inappropriate content on social media about the assassination of Charlie Kirk. We do know that there were over 180 complaints total. This is a press release sent out by TEA to superintendents all across the state. Well, Governor Abbott posted a brand new update. The Texas Education Agency is investigating Texas teachers whose actions call for or incite violence following the Charlie Kirk assassination. Those educators, more than 100, will have their teacher certification suspended and be ineligible to teach in a Texas public school. So obviously the era of FAFO continues. One of the teachers, by the way, is this social studies teacher, Benjamin Philo. I'm not sure how you say it. What was really notable about this to me was that people were complaining in the local community. And a lot of times when you think about these school board meetings, the perception or maybe the norm is that it's parents go in, parents complain, and parents participate, whatever it is, right? But at this particular school board meeting, it was the students themselves who got up there. There were maybe 5 different videos I saw on social media. Some of them, it was just one student. Some of them, it was groups. And here was a group that I wanted to share with you, complaining about this very teacher.
We decided to come up and give our perspective on the subject, considering it is our teacher and one of the people that will guide our futures. No matter what anyone says to me, I will never stand for violence, especially of a man who was publicly murdered in front of his wife, one of his children, thousands of students, and other bystanders. Charlie was not a racist, he did not hurt anyone sexually, and he did not kill anyone. Therefore, this was an unjustified cause of death that should never be celebrated. So if you ask me, Charlie's children do not deserve to grow up without their father. Charlie's wife did not deserve to lose her husband. Charlie did not deserve to lose his life because of a different opinion. But this teacher deserves to lose his job.
As civilians and people of our great country, we hold ourselves to a higher standard than to support, or worse yet, rejoice in violence. Someone who advocated for an arrested murderer and assassinator of one of the greatest debaters and free speakers of our time should have no place in the classroom, more so around young children.
As a student of Barrington High, I do not feel comfortable or safe with one of our teachers supporting violence. We believe this world needs God because something as cruel as this should never be celebrated. God bless Charlie Kirk and rest in peace, Mr. Kirk.
The fact that students are proactively doing this, it's not as if many of them, based on what I'm seeing on social media, when they went back to sit down, it didn't look like they were sitting with their parents. Now, of course, it doesn't mean that their parents weren't there. Of course, to me, it doesn't look like they're of driving age, so I'm sure their parents dropped them off or are somewhere in the room, but I doubt that they're being forced up there by their parents, right, to call for this teacher's firing. It really looks like it is an organic uprising by the students speaking out, saying, hey, we don't want to be taught by this radical. That's what's been going on. We're going to call it out now. And again, you see natural diversity, not the forced diversity of the left. Now, there is another FAFO clip I'm going to share you. A guy actually got bear sprayed for trying to spray paint a memorial down in Florida. But before I show you that, I would like to acknowledge Glenda Stucker, Bama Ridenauer, Steph S., David Messner, J.M., Tarina Smith, Jessica V., Stacy L., Leslie, Colt P.I., Paw Productions as the members of today's Governor's Club. These are people who give tips and super thanks to the channel. I am so glad that you enjoy. So first of all, who even thinks, like, what kind of deranged and distorted mindset do you have to be in to say, hey, I'm going to bring spray paint to a vigil, to a memorial site, and just vandalize it? And second, who thinks they can do that with the crowd there and get away with it? Just absolutely mind-boggling. He learned the hard way.
And but at the same time, I tell everybody, it's like, you know, we have sheep going towards the flock.
Yeah.
And that's the end is God. He walked up.
Spray
I'm
painted.
sorry, where
No,
his
it's
eye
okay.
is, with gold spray paint. He just walked up, started spraying it, and everybody jumped in.
This is what happens.
started
This is
screaming.
what happens when you f with proud Americans. You get your ass beat.
Just with the swing, and the dude started whirling.
This is what happens.
Told the guy, right, you don't do this, we're better than this.
This is what happens when you do this shit in Pensacola. You get your ass beat. Look at this little bitch crying like a little bitch being held. I want my mommy. Well, maybe next time you don't go down to a memorial and try to spray paint and be disrespectful. This is what you get. This is what happens when you mess with proud Americans. We're getting tired. We're getting tired, boys. This is what happens.
He's pulling a George Floyd over here.
Yeah, yeah, trying to say
He's playing victim.
can't breathe, huh?
He's got the fence hold, too.
Yeah. Well, maybe.
And then he's got these two women here holding him like a little baby.
Literally.
Happy, oh yeah, she's a Juneteenth. Yeah. Yep. As is our right. As is our right.
And this is my right to
That's
do
right.
as well.
What do you think was going to happen to you guys when you guys came down here?
I saw how much weed blew out of your car when he pulled in here, too.
What do you guys think was going to happen when he did that? I don't know. It was pretty dumb idea.
100% a dumb idea. To be very clear, there wasn't any violence with the exception of what the vandals were doing, attempting to disrupt and vandalize the place with spray paint. They weren't, no one threw punches, no one got physical with them. It was just bear spray that was used to get them to step away because they wouldn't stop. And, just reverse the rules. Imagine if this were George Floyd and it was one of the BLM riots and someone came to destroy a George Floyd memorial or disrupt Vigil service. I guarantee that whoever did that, well, not that it would happen in the first place, but if that happened, they probably would get beat up. So it really shows you which side is just naturally more violent. And unfortunately, that's not just my opinion. The statistics now back this up. There is a new poll out from YouGov. And so they questioned, is it acceptable for political violence? And you will notice that among people who are very liberal, they are 8 times more likely than people who are very conservative to say it is always or usually acceptable to perpetrate political violence. So 24% of people who are very liberal say it's okay to always or usually use political violence. Compare that to just 3% of people who are very conservative. By the way, YouGov is usually a very left-leaning poll. So as I've said on the channel, I like citing the left-leaning polls when they show something that people would say is a right-leaning result or a result that would make people on the right happy, because if that is what the outcome is on their poll, then reality is probably even better. As always, though, all of this is just my analysis and commentary, and that's what's going on in the world of politics from my point of view, and I would love to hear from you. So, going back to the original topic of today's video, we saw the guy reenacting, mocking Charlie Kirk's assassination. Unfortunately, it is not the first time. Yesterday, we saw it with Cameron Booker. There have been many other instances that I've shown on the channel, including one where they pulled up the footage and they were actually laughing at the footage of Charlie getting shot and blood gushing out of his neck. It was really gross. Fortunately, a girl was there to call them all out on it. But with all of that being said, there is this disturbing trend of students celebrating and just totally trivializing this. So my question is what do you think is leading to that? Do you think it's social media? Do you think it is the echo chamber that the left has established? Do you think, what has led to this sort of, I don't know, cavalier attitude about something that should be sacred, like life? Let me know your thoughts on that below. If you haven't already, please be sure to press that subscribe button as well as the like button. It does help me out in the algorithm. Thank you, and welcome again to all the new viewers. I'm glad that you're here. Be sure to check out one of these videos.